Good morning and welcome to Valley Views. I'm your host, Glenn Edison. Certainly glad to see you today and certainly glad to have you. And as always, you can see our programs on BTC Fiber's YouTube page as well as BTC Fiber Channel 18. And today we have with us David Hanning from the flying camp out on Fredonia. So David is, not Fredonia, Henson Gap. Sorry about that,
all right.
David.
Just the other side of the mountain.
Yeah, the other side, on the east side instead of the west side. Well, first of all, it's good to have you, David. We appreciate you being with us.
I appreciate it.
Tell us a little bit about your flying camp, because maybe a lot of people are not familiar with it. I know you have a lot of guests out there from time to time, but maybe not many local, or I don't know, you may have a lot local.
Well, I think first of all, the flying camp represents paragliding as a sport. We offer instructional courses and tandem flights, as well as host pilots from around the country and outside of the U.S. as well to come and enjoy the bounty that the Sequatchie Valley offers in the terms of weather and altitude from which we can launch ultralight aircraft. Hang gliders in particular have been here 45 years, and paragliding is the evolution of a sport, a fabric wing, but we do a lot of the same flying as the hang gliders do, and we really enjoy the way the weather works here in the valley and the nature of the community with large spaces, farm country. This is one of the most spectacular places to fly in the nation.
Well, and I've gathered since the hang gliders, do the hang gliders still use the ramp at Henson?
Oh yes, absolutely. They're still very active using the Henson Gap radial ramp, which is a part of the Tennessee Tree Toppers, and that USHPA club has been here more than 40 years now.
Wow. And is that the same ramp that y'all use, or do y'all use another?
No, sir, we don't use a ramp in terms of launching the paraglider. We're right next door, however, though, where we've opened up some space. So we have a green grassy lawn on a bit of a rollover tongue of grass that we can pull the glider up over our heads and then engage into the air mass from.
Oh, okay.
Right next door.
A little different. I'll have to go out there and see that.
A little two different aircraft doing about the same thing, and the space required with the radial ramp for a hang glider gives them the ability to get into the air in a way that they fly away very easily or engage the winds in particular. Soaring is kind of like surfing in the sky, and the Henson Gap site is famous for the northwest winds coming in and creating that soaring environment, as well as the valley is very thermic, and so cross country. The standard is applied here pretty easily, lots of farm country. So we can get up high into the clouds and we can go pretty far.
Well, I know I have been out to the ramp when the hang gliding events, when they've had their events before. And I know that you mentioned the winds, how important they are. I've seen a couple of hang gliders when as soon as they got off the ramp, the winds died and then they dropped.
That sank out, yes.
Yeah, and of course, fortunately for them, the winds caught them before they dropped all the way. And
yeah, it is a rhythm of flying, the compression of the air mass as it dips into the valley and then goes up and over the cliff line here at Henson Gap. So it's a real special environment that produces this kind of a wave when it's a ridge soaring. And that's frequent even towards the end of the day in the evening environment. We'll get the glass off, as it's referred to by the pilots, which is restitution, and technically that's the heat rising up and out of the valley and has to escape over the ridge, so it creates a floaty, buoyant compression zone for us to sustain flight on.
Well, I imagine that's I know you have courses for rookies.
Yes,
but,
sir.
Not just anybody can go out and just paraglide and hang glide.
Well, the rules in the United States are under the FAA, and according to them in the ultralight category, there's a little bit of a gray area there in terms of what kind of licensing is needed. But under the United States Hang Gliding and Paragliding Association, there's a program that's offering a curriculum, a foundation of education to help make you safe and avoid injury and accidents. And they also have created access through clubs like the Tennessee Tree Toppers that have fostered the sports growth and partnership within the community. So a lot of great history there in the ultralight category, which technically is experimental flight. And we're super lucky with the design enhancements through computers to have this fabric wing. We're the slowest aircraft out there, but we have a real good climb rate, and the safety standards continue to excel as computer programs make design better and material advancements. So right now, in an evolutionary status, the paraglider has this advantage of growth that's really attractive. And while we're not the fastest, and certainly not Formula One racing in the sky,
Right.
we do go very far. And we spend hours up at the clouds. And around the world, this aircraft, the paraglider, has connected communities in adventure sport tourism. It's a significant worldwide activity, although compared to some of the more popular sports, we're definitely eclectic and elite, I guess you could suggest.
Right. And here on Henson Gap, do you have a lot of people from out of state and even out of the country come here?
Oh yes, absolutely. Many visitors from out of state, as we see the tourism industry here in the valley increasing. We're super lucky and fortunate to have the relationships with the Tennessee Tourism Department and the locals that offer housing and experiences to generate additional visitors through our Tandem program primarily, where they come and experience flight with a certified professional pilot that takes them for a flight. The student population is surprisingly dynamic, with lots of people from outside of our state area coming to join us, in particular because we enjoy a real special environment with the weather and the land topography. We have a lot of the elements that make it really easy for us to educate a pilot to a high level of intelligence and safety that
Right.
Other places don't enjoy. We're very lucky with the assets here in this valley that we enjoy access to. So access being everything, the East Coast having lots of trees, this Sequatchie Valley having this long time tradition of free flight. Because of that, I think we have this unique environment where landowners are welcoming to the flying, and with respect, we hope that we can continue those friendships throughout the valley. It's a really unique and special place that we enjoy, not just national tourism, but also international tourism. Pilots from Japan and Austria and Switzerland. We have friends from Nepal and India, Costa Rica, Colombia. We name countries from all over the world of friends that have traveled through or visited here or stayed with us for a little bit to enjoy the special flying that we have here. Green grass environment, and it's spectacular. We're super lucky.
Well, that's great. Excuse me. Had a little sinus this weekend. It's getting better. It doesn't sound like it, but it's getting better. Well, now you mentioned the winds in the valley. It's kind of unlike a lot of other places. I mean, you can't just pop up a place to take off and then you got to have the conditions, right?
That's correct. Sequatchie Valley is unique in that it's we talk in kilometers and meters per second, so 100 kilometers long and 12 kilometers wide. Sunken valley that produces a harmonic effect with the winds. That soaring is like the local surfing break, and so pretty special environment that way. Here at the Henson Gap, and then also down valley at our Whitwell site, which faces to the east, and it's on the west side of the valley. These two components offer open spaces amidst a sea of trees, and that's really unique here in the east and southeast in particular. So a combination of the way the winds work here and offer heat, warm, rising air that forms the clouds, and just like the birds, we climb up in, touch the sky, and then we can bounce from cloud to cloud and see how far we go. Current record for the state of Tennessee is from here at Henson Gap and flew all the way down into actually Alabama, south of the I-20.
Oh, really?
Yes, sir.
That's a long flight.
That's a long flight, 4 or 5.5 hours.
Yeah.
So a really special day with some pilots that were seeking to go the distance, crossing several forests and, kind of putting together the patchwork of where in the valley landing options exist. And that's the pure adventure of the sport. And here we enjoyed the access which is, of course, having to do with some of the trees that have been removed along the bluff line that provide us the opportunities to lift the wing up and then engage the weather that's really special here in this region of the Southeast, in particular because it's a crossroads of weather. So there's a constant change happening where the highs and the lows are moving back and forth. And that's what provides the best weather for us here, in particular paragliding, and of course the open spaces of the farm country and the generosity of the community.
Well, that's neat. So is there a particular time of the year that it's better for the flying, or is it pretty much all year long?
We're really lucky here in the Sequatchie Valley to enjoy good weather all year long. Even in its coldest forms, there's a good wind from the northwest that the pilots surf here at Henson Gap. But the best weather that we experience for flying, or at least when I feel like we experience the most flying days with the highest ceilings, are the June into July months and September, which has traditionally been when we've set our state record for open distance. So seems that those months that are drier in particular offer us the greater weather to be flying up higher and longer. And of course we can point to the length of time of the day being a part of that equation. Now that's a pilot perspective. We seem to have no shortage of days year round where we enjoy good flying. Even here in February, we're flying in the sunny skies, and it's not as strong or as powerful, but it's a great opportunity to continually fly and engage and learn here at the flying camp in the Sequatchie Valley.
Now, if somebody was a rookie and never flown before, you have a system set up where they can go along with a pilot, right?
Yes, sir. We offer Tandem Flights, which is an educational flight with an instructor. Well, you'll sit in a seat in front of the pilot, who's in their own seat, and together, through something called spreader bars, you share the wing, which is sized to accommodate your weight. There's a payload limitation of passenger 250 pounds, and we seek to engage when the weather's appropriate. So there's a lot of flexibility required to connect to the good days. Rain would not be fun,
No.
and certainly higher winds than are acceptable being dangerous. It's a sport that we enjoy connecting to the power of the elements that are offered here. Wind, thermic equation primarily being our favored styles.
Now, you mentioned too, you have several people there that serve as instructors and pilots and various people. Could you elaborate on that some?
Yeah, we're really lucky that we have the ability to have a large staff because of the busy others seeking to learn from us. So with regard to our tandem pilots, we have some high talented folks here from the U.S., Austin Kasserman, and internationally currently Julian Carreno from Colombia, one of the national top pilots there for years. So the location really attracts these individuals. They want to fly all the time, and I'm fortunate enough that they also are willing to work in the environment of producing tandem flights, which we use in our educational formula to help bring the pilot or student pilot up to speed as fast as possible, so that they fly with a certified pilot first that suggests these are appropriate actions, talk you through in flight how we would expect you to do the flying, and maybe we do something 5 tandems before a solo pilot that's our student would engage in training hill, lower elevation running with the wing, flat ground handling to be in control of the aircraft before we move to a mountain site like our Whitwell sites, our primary for education, and this Henson Gap site we referred to as our graduation location. And that's because it has different proximities and the way the wings work, and it produces that stepping stone for students to seek engagement of. Give them knowledge that they have the skill set to be in control when they go flying, and they're not just throwing themselves out there with the luck.
Well, that's that's good because sometimes luck is not always there.
No, that's true. We teach a lot about the environment, the meteorology in our programming, specifically so that the pilots that graduate are highly knowledgeable and skilled and capable to engage in flight on their own. And it's a short amount of time that our program has, a 35 solo flight requirement to be certified at the basic pilot level. And that's the United States Hang Gliding and Paragliding's curriculum, which is foundational here in the United States for the pilot population that from where I came from out west grows into cross-country and racing pilots. And this is how I gained experience traveling the world. So here in this valley, the education programming that we offer greatly benefits from the topography and the landscape that the Sequatchie Valley offers. In addition to the gentle nature of the winds and the thermic conditions that are frequent here, we're allowed to teach students in a relatively safe environment. Lots of generous locations to land and make those mistakes of tactics with less consequences, where perhaps other locations have nothing but trees or surrounded by city and power lines, obstacles that complicate the education program. To be sure, being here in the country has been super for our program.
So, in other words, it draws a lot of people from all across the country over here.
Yes, it does, and we're excited to share not just our knowledge, but the location here as it grows, the reputation and respect for this place with the way the weather is so generous for flying. We're just really enjoying the fact that the discovery process is in place as paragliding's growth is reaching surging in this region.
Well, are there, you mentioned about flying cross country and stuff, are there competitions out there for?
Yes, absolutely. Competitions being sort of the elite standard happen around the world. And in particular here in the Sequatchie Valley, once a year we hold a competition. In the past we called it the Hurricane Open because it always happened in September during hurricane season when that weather would push the kind of weather to us that produced fantastic flying. And we renamed it for the Tennessee Open to identify location better. But we get about 50 pilots right now, and that's a sizable amount. We do live tracking, and we host a great event with some nice dinners and pilots from all over Midwest and Southeast and Northeast region here coming together at that time of year. So it's something we seek to expand. It's a formula that's been very successful, showcasing this location for how exceptional the flying really is. And I think the last 3 years we would hold the competition as a week-long event, and in a course of 7 days we would get 6 days flying minimum. And to have that many days of flying in a competition
excuse me,
is really unique. 50% of the time maybe we would achieve flyable days during competition. So we're timing it right with the way the weather here works in the valley. But this is something that we hope we can continue to grow and bring visitors, attract them here to show off how special flying is in the Sequatchie Valley.
Now, up at your base, I know you have a store there that people can, even novices can go in and look at equipment and other things or purchase things there, right?
Yes, that's right. We have a gear store. It's online as well as a physical brick and mortar. We carry some products on the shelf, although they don't stay very long. Helmets and the things that pilots would need, some harnesses and wings and such. We have some demo products that we allow people to come try. And with this, we also have a cafe, so to speak. One of the pilots is one of those mad scientists for coffee. And so if you catch it on the right moment, you get a really awesome cup of coffee from the shop there. So it has a hangout kind of feeling about it. where we also do our education out of this office. And so
okay.
there's a lot of memorabilia on the walls and things. There's a lot of history in our short lifespan of flying, being a sport that's maybe 30 years old.
Now, how long have y'all been at your current location?
We've been here now 10 years.
10 years?
Yes, sir.
Well, I know I see them fly near, I live down near the ballpark.
Oh, yeah.
And occasionally I'll see them flying. And it's always a pretty sight. I like seeing them.
Well, right on. We hope that everybody that witnesses what we're doing doesn't just think we're crazy. It's a pretty special sport, connecting to the sky like we do, sailing across the sky like we do. And we know we don't get the opportunity maybe to always pick our landing zones. And the generous nature of all the folks in the valley when we do land out has been very impressive. And so real welcoming, and that's really special to all of us pilots that feel safe in going and trying to make distance. And one of the favorite routes of the pilots right now, I think, is the number one focused goal for big cross-country flying would be to fly from the Henson Gap location here all the way down the valley, across the Nickajack Lake, and carry on into the valley over there of Lookout Mountain Flight Park, where they do a iconic hang gliding spot, and sort of the milk run, as it's been called. But a true test of being able to fly here in the valley is to run right past your house down there and carry on. A lot of people kind of get stuck there at Nickajack Lake, as that's a calculated maneuver to get high enough and cross the water and then engage to go on across the plateau. But that's a lot of what's growing here. This young community is growing up and getting the skill set that makes it really easy for them to engage at that intermediate and elite level, which includes the extreme racing on the world stage. Paragliding World Cups are pretty exceptional events with the top pilots from around the world participating. It's quite the thing to witness.
Well, do you have many local people that are involved, or is most of your traffic from out of the area?
We have quite a population locally. On a good night, we might see 15 to 20 pilots out in the sky that are from Chattanooga area, with some Pikeville residents. Then here in the valley, there's a handful of people that have begun the learning process and still haven't finished it. My good friend Thomas Austin being someone who is too busy, but he continues to try to dabble a little bit here and there. And so we really are feeling lucky about how special this place is and welcoming of everyone who's interested in learning.
Well, in time too, of course, you're already growing in popularity and notoriety, but in time, this place, this valley keeps continuing to grow, and more people find out about the valley, and that's the valley offers many I guess outdoor activities.
That's right.
Outdoor sports, and a lot of it actually. When you
a
get
lot
down,
of it, yes.
And things like the paragliding and the hang gliding are just other things that what didn't used to be a part of the valley, but now it's something that's been added and brings more of different clientele to the valley than what has been in the past.
Yeah, the outdoor recreational sports that are growing here, from the rock climbing, I expect we see more biking, mountain biking, that's in addition to the current motorized sports that are frequent in the area. Outdoor recreation in places like this is special, and to be sure we're experiencing in the flying community a revitalization of popularity here. And some of that's the younger individuals coming to learn that from the Chattanooga or I guess greater southeast area, as far away as Atlanta, regularly flying with us when they can slip away. So people are willing to travel a little bit further also with this last couple of years of challenges, and they're focusing on spending their money in the locales that they live in so that they can enjoy the bounty that I think they've largely ignored here in the Sequatchie Valley in particular. We've enjoyed quite a quiet existence, nice and easy, and it's a wonderful life. and sharing it with the visitors that come and witness how it can be, and then they just leave with us the good experiences that they gain from the area. That's a real special tourism type of rhythm here, and so I look forward to the growth that we're going to see with the attention that's being focused on the Sequatchie Valley, all the positive things that I see happening in the downtown Dunlap and becoming a really neat community, fostering that connection of having the eating and maybe the music scene. There's some restaurants populating the area, things that I wasn't sure. I'm really excited to see happening now.
Well, I know in the past, especially when the hang gliders, when they had their events, there wasn't many places to eat at that time. Didn't have as many places to eat. Actually, in that time, we didn't have the motel.
That's right.
And so a lot of them were camped out on Hinson Gals.
Well, for sure. And they still do that.
Yeah.
Largely, I think the population of pilots comes to enjoy the bounty of the woods and be in a camping environment. And we're really lucky here.
And that's a nice area out there. I've been out there, and it's really nice if people get out there. It's small, and it's more like a little community, and it's friendly. I've never met anybody that's not been friendly out there.
No, everybody's real welcoming and supportive, because we're all here recognizing we're doing the same things together, which is enjoying life. And some maybe more extremely than others, or radically or something, but still these unique individuals are here to witness the sunset every night and just enjoy what the bounty of life offers. And I think they recognize, especially at night when you see the sunset over Dunlap, the extreme beauty and what a relaxed and healthy lifestyle we have here. And I know a lot of folks are jealous, and it encourages them to keep coming back and get a taste of it and enjoy it. So, I just feel super fortunate to be here myself. I wandered into an environment and someone invited me to stay and utilize their land, and that progressed into a great friendship from which I became landowner. And so happy to be raising my family here and enjoying the special sunsets every night.
Oh, I bet it was pretty. Well, how can people get in touch with you if they want to be involved or just go on a tandem flight?
Well, the website we have holds a lot of information, and that would be unique website of the www.flying.camp. And that's reflective of our name, Flying Camp. But also to send us an email at info@tnfly.com. or to give us a call at our phone number 423-800-2228.
Yeah, I almost didn't call that one time. I thought they must have missed some numbers here. And then I thought, well, I'll call it.
Yeah, we do enjoy a lucky number, I think, and it's easy for me to remember. So.
Yeah. Well, David, is there anything else you'd like to add that we haven't covered that you'd like for people to know?
I'd just like to thank you and BTC Fiber for doing everything that you do, making it possible for me to have a business here in the Valley with such ease. I'm certainly very happy to have the power and internet access I do. It's extremely awesome, and all of our friends that come into the Valley are impressed with the facilities we offer, which, one of those big ones for us is the high-speed internet that we've been fortunate enough to enjoy up on the mountain at this remote location. And so to me, that's just, heartwarming that we're just fostering and building friends, and I couldn't be doing it without y'all. So I really appreciate you, and thank you.
Well, we appreciate you. And remember, folks, you can see this interview on BTC Fiber's YouTube page as well as BTC Fiber Channel 18. And until next time, we'll see you later. Hey everybody, this is Glenn Edison from Valley Views. We appreciate you watching our shows, and we would like for you to like, share, and follow us on Facebook, as well as like and subscribe to our YouTube page.
Brought to you by Bledsoe Telephone Cooperative, your full-service telecommunications provider right here in the Sequatchie Valley.